Hello and welcome to the Bunkhouse in Swansea. I'm Mark Rees and I'm here to conduct a paranormal investigation because there have been reports from inside this venue of things that go bump in the night, or rather bump in the cellar, where people have reported hearing things, feeling things and seeing things. And to help me with this, I've assembled a crew of paranormal experts who are on their way to the venue to try and uncover some of the secrets of what might be lurking inside. But before we do that, we're going to catch up with the owner to find out exactly what people think might be going on.
So I first got approached by somebody who used to live here. His family used to have the Swan. They used to live above when there was flats above. And he was telling me when I first opened it, he was like, have you ever felt anything in the building? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, funny enough, yes. But I passed it off. And then over like the next year or two then, I had staff reporting to me, like they'd be in the cellar, they'd feel someone touching them from behind, like touching their shoulder and so on and so forth. And they'd feel like an energy down there, they'd hear people down there, they'd hear like a man down there and everything. And then it got to a point then where even a lot of my staff wouldn't go down on their own without somebody going down there. They never felt anything bad in the cellar, but they'd always feel an energy every time they go down there, especially in where the kegs are and stuff. They just constantly feel things like people brushing past them and stuff like that, and just hear like a male voice and whatnot, thinking that I was down there, but no, I wasn't. It was built in the late 1950s by Worthington to replace what we believe was a former public house on the premises that was destroyed with the Blitz. It was called the Swan when it opened up until the early 90s, I believe. Then it got turned into an Irish bar and it just changed hands consistently over the next like 25 years. And I've been here now for 5 years, so yeah. A few months ago, there was a woman in here, and she was in the corridor over there, and she was like, I can feel something in here, but underneath me. Do you mind if is it a cellar or anything like that under? I said, yeah. So she went under the cellar, and she came back up, and she was white. She was like, I don't like what's down there at all.
So was that almost like some kind of psychic sensei then? She had some kind of...
I believe so, yeah. She had a feeling when she was in the corridor, yeah.
And when she came up white, did she sort of give any explanation about what it...
She just didn't like the feeling there. She said it felt bad. It felt like there was a lot of stories, she said, in the cellar. So,
Excellent. And there's a team on the way today to have a quick look there with their technical devices. Has anyone else looked in the past for anything down there? And are you open to what they might find?
From what nothing since I've been here for 5 years now, and I've never had anything like come here. There was a bar here a few years prior to me, and I believe they did bring an investigations group into the cellar. Not too sure on the outcome of it, but I do know there was a group brought down here.
So we've had a chat with Jordan, we know a bit more about what's going on. The team have arrived, the experts are now focusing down in the cellar where they're setting up their equipment. And I'm also joined by my good friend Chris Carra here, who's been dragged along on his very first ghost hunt. So it'll be quite interesting to find out what Chris feels before going down. Chris, you heard what Jordan had to say. How are you feeling?
I'm glad you brought up experts because I'm not the expert here. I am the complete amateur. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. The place is very welcoming as you walk in. I haven't been down to the cellar yet, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how the atmosphere changes. I'm open-minded to seeing whether something happens, whether a ghost walks out of the wall or whether nothing happens at all. But yeah, if a ghost walks out the wall, I may be straight back up those stairs. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. You're not apprehensive at all? You haven't got any scare stories?
Not about this place. I think if this was perhaps like an abandoned hospital which had that really creepy feel as you walked in, I think I'd be a bit more apprehensive. But at the moment, I'm quite relaxed, quite comfortable. As I said, that all could change as soon as we walk down those stairs.
Yes, because here upstairs, the atmosphere is it's very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
But having looked in the doorway of that cellar, it might be less nice.
Yeah,
in a few minutes when we venture down there.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of staying up here at the moment.
Yeah.
Relaxed up here. But we'll see what happens.
Well, gather up your courage, Chris, and off we go.
Let's do it.
Right above the end corridor you can't access. What's above?
Above you is where we were in the gig room by the stage.
Is that?
Just that area over there, really.
Right, okay.
There is, if I go around, I could probably open the door for that part down there if you want me to.
Okay. No one's up. We didn't leave anyone up there, did we? No. Okay.
Why you had something down there?
There's
There's a bit of a cliffhanger there.
There are noises down there, but there could be the electric, but it doesn't sound like the electric.
Yeah.
It was like a knocking. You need, first of all, to tick off what is normal. So the noises that you would normally expect to hear in any building. In a pub in particular, you have fridges, chillers, etc. So you need to know what those sounds are. Again, you've got natural sounds from heating pipes, water, so you would know exactly what was normal. So you discount all of those, and then you start recording what you're picking up, the times that you're picking it up. Has anybody else heard that? Is there a reason for that? So you start trying to find a reason why that particular noise has been happening, and you just constantly go back questioning, and it could be shadows. So is there a light in a particular way? Is there a window? Is there a mirror? There are reflections, glass on pictures. So you discount all of that, and then you try constantly. It's just about asking continual questions.
And was that writing down your last movie down here? Because I've never. I swear to God, I've never noticed that.
I can't remember.
Mark, we may have found some proof of paranormal activity. Yeah.
I've never seen that before, but I've never noticed it before. But I did paint these walls many years ago. I'd probably say someone's done it because it's definitely because of this. So.
Yeah. But there's also, it's just...
I know. Probably started winding me up last night. We laugh if it sent us down the cellar.
Yeah.
But people only do 5-bar gates if they're trapped, don't they?
Yeah. A man I know, his parents used to run the pub when it was the Swan, and he told me a story about when he was a boy. In here used to be the office for the pub. He used to live on the upper floors. There was always like things happening on the upper floors and so on. One of the things that sticks out with him was he was in here in the office one day, and he was just sat in the chair, and all of a sudden the two doors going into the office both slammed shut. Nobody down here, they both slammed shut simultaneously. The family got so scared over it that they eventually left the pub, but he hadn't been down here since that happened. He's never been into the cellar, never wanted. I've offered him myself, do you want to go back down and have a look? And he said, no way do I want to go back down here. I mean, there's no like air or anything down here, so there's no way that these doors would have shut with like a gust of wind or anything like that. So yeah, a bit of a freaky moment for him, if anything.
What are your first impressions of the Bunkhouse?
It's an interesting building. We're not talking about centuries old, but it's all the areas we've seen so far are very interesting.
Do you think, though, because you mentioned not centuries old, but there's something, we don't know what, but there's been something on this site for a long time, so would going back through the history books and trying to work that out, would that help?
Yes, absolutely. We would look at doing that after we've investigated. So we try and keep an open mind as much as possible. So getting encounters from people who have experienced is really good, because we can tailor certain areas, try and replicate what they experienced. Does it happen again? And then when we start to collate all the information that we've gathered, we can look back through the history, see, you know, what was actually on this site previously, as far back in history as we can possibly go. And it's quite surprising what could potentially come up once you've done that correlation. That could be linked to what people have been experiencing. So anybody that does band practice, have they ever experienced anything here?
This one's permanently hired by one band, this practice room.
Right.
We have got another one on
So
top
they
floor.
spend quite a bit of time
They spend
here
quite
then?
a bit of time, and they also don't like being in there on their own.
Don't they?
No, but they did up until, because they just done a bit of work in here. That door over there, the drummer, the door opened on the drummer,
Right.
so he got a little bit scared.
Freaked out.
Yeah, a little bit freaked out.
And what's behind that door?
A corridor doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, doesn't it?
No, doesn't
So
go
probably
anywhere.
goes into the next building.
No, nothing at all.
No?
It's because the next building has got a cellar. Just this building has. And it's just a corridor, and it goes down and behind this wall
right.
as well. It didn't go to it. It must have been used as storage. This is originally like a cat-scale keg room when it first opened. So I presume it was storage, if anything.
So it's about energy with the paranormal. So that could be bad energy, it could be positive energy. So here is a very positive place. We've been sat down in the basement where they do band practice. So there's lots of positive energy going on here. Above us there's a room where people on weekends, in the evenings, they're happy, they're dancing, lots of music, so lots of positive energy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there hasn't been negative energy in a place or on a piece of land, and that can also continue, because that's a negative. So something very bad could have happened, which is stored with negativity. So both really.
And because we were talking earlier that, by all accounts, a previous owner did banish the bad energy, for want of a better word, bad spirits, whatever they might be. But the good ones presumably are still here. Is that a concept you'd go along with? Can that happen? Can the bad ones come back? Can you pick and choose? What were your thoughts on that?
It depends on what he felt he's removed from here. What was he experiencing that he feels that he's banished all bad evil spirits and retained just good ones.
So well, distracted by that noise then.
Yeah,
That wasn't.
yeah.
That was strange.
That wasn't you, Chris. Was
No,
it?
no,
That wasn't
no,
right.
Looking at him.
There's nothing.
It was
that right?
it was like the symbol.
I thought I bumped into a symbol, but looking, there's no symbol there.
Right. Well, I was going to ask Leanne next about some of the experiences, but let's finish this bit, because I wasn't expecting that to interrupt me. So, God, I lost my trail of thought.
Right on cue.
Yeah.
Talking about bad energy, we just
There it
have
is.
a message.
So is that what it was? A message to say yes, I'm still here.
Well, we can't explain that
Yes.
at the moment, so I wouldn't like to say that was paranormal, but we, again, that could be something that's noted and we try and replicate that.
Yeah.
So at the time we were talking about bad energy, good energy, evil, etc. And then, there was that experience.
Then we get a potential proof.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's try and replicate that at some point. So
Yes. But I think what I was thinking was, again, this is all hypothetical, but if there was an evil spirit and you could work out a way to remove it, it seems a bit powerful to me to just get rid of all of them, to just say all evil spirits go. And it's almost like, how do you decide who's evil and who's not?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it up to them
Yeah.
to decide? And
people do wrong in life, don't they? Does it necessarily mean, how can we define that they're evil?
yes.
So then we're talking about possessions, and we're talking about a whole different ball game.
Yes.
Maybe
Maybe that's why they're hanging around.
Yeah.
They're paying their penance.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I wanted to ask as well, Leanne, well, both of you, but I know Leanne in particular, you've mentioned some things. We haven't been here long at all, but there are a couple of things you might look into, is that right? And a couple of sounds and feelings?
There's been a few noises, a few rumbles. Obviously, we're quite new to the area, so we would first of all check out whether it is something, maybe a road noise outside, or maybe an adjoining building that might be causing something like that. But there's been quite a few rumbles that are a bit sort of sporadic, which at the moment we can't explain. We're not saying it's paranormal, but also we can't really explain what it might be.
Yes.
Also, just out in the one corridor, there's been a few noises, which again we're yet to sort of check out what they are exactly just yet. It's always good to spend a little bit of time in the location, whatever location we're at, to try and get a good sense of the building. So we like to scan around a lot and try to work out what things could possibly be explained first of all.
Yeah.
So like Sarah was saying, try to recreate those, try to listen out differently for them, try and capture the noises and try to find some sort of explanation where possible.
And initial impressions seem to be head downstairs. Of course, that's what we were told. People have reported things in the past, and that's kind of where we've been drawn, isn't it?
So I would look at a team upstairs, a team downstairs.
Oh, okay, teamwork. Well, obviously teamwork.
Yeah, well, because what we want to try and do is to correlate information. So if you've got a team upstairs and they are, carrying on their normal business, but they're actually making a log of things that are happening, and then there's a team down here, they're doing exactly the same. It could be that they've experienced something very similar that they can't explain upstairs, that is down here as well. So that's, I would look at splitting the team into sub-teams.
Excellent. And the one thing I really wanted to ask both of you about, because you've both mentioned this now, over where the drum kit is, over where the poor drummer has to sit with his back to that door, is that the point you'd pick out as the most interesting point and somewhere you'd focus on in a full investigation?
I'd go with both sides, to be honest.
Yeah, I would go for both sides, and I would go for the doorway into the corridor there.
So there's definitely at least two points of interest then that you would come back. So maybe if we ask really nicely, we can come back and do a follow-up at some time and try and
after
buy a couple of pints and a couple of spirits. That would do it. Yes, yeah.
The public investigation team who came down here when he first started, which must be about 10 years ago now, were Paranormal Nights Cymru.
Oh, I know, yeah.
He had done boards in where there's a small, which used to be an office down on the other side, and he said there was too many spirits to keep up with. They were all fighting and stay stuff, kept swapping and changing. He particularly remembers a male who was gay, said he lived there, but being gay wasn't accepted during his time. There was a specific demonic type entity whose name he forgot. He thinks it was called Babatha or Babitha. But the last thing he just mentioned to me, all I will say, if the name John comes up, leave it the fuck alone. But he's mentioned me quite a bit here, as he said. He done a laser grid in that corridor. He did have CCTV but he's lost it now, of a female customer's large purse bag being thrown across the bar in Park Street, which is the entrance bar he came into, where nobody was in the room. He said a medium passed 90 spirits in the building previously. And most of the activity that he experienced was actually on the top floor of the building, where he felt a lot, where he go back to where he's saying
Yeah.
But he said that he'd hear footsteps on the stairs, door handles and things like that. And he also said that he heard a rumble.
It flips my thinking on the head in a way as well, although it ties in nicely with what your normal idea would be, is that because we've focused downstairs, we've focused on the cellar, because this is where, people have heard things and where we've heard things. But by all accounts, the previous investigations say no, it's all up there. So
no, the previous investigators said it was down here as well.
Oh, sorry, they said it was down here. So it's both of them. Yeah. Right.
They came in the cellar. But it was a gentleman who works for me now, who used to have this as a bar years ago. He fell in love with it on the first floor and top floor of the building. Yeah.
Is there any reason why there's a camera on that door?
You know what? I don't know, and that camera's been there since.
Because he's literally looking at this
Nothing.
back of the stairway.
Yeah, nothing at all. I know.
I don't know
Shall I ask that question and see if he put the camera on?
Yeah, maybe we'll put it in there.
Yeah. Well, just a quick one. You know in Pastel's room, you know where that door that goes like to nowhere? There's a camera in there. Did you put it up by any chance?
In the meantime, that symbol... It sounded like a symbol, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because I thought I bumped into the symbol,
Yeah.
but there was nothing around me, so...
Is that why you're sitting over here now?
Well, that's why I moved, yeah. Just in case.
Get away from the whole big symbol. So, Chris, we've escaped the cellar. We're back upstairs, back where there's a bit of light and some windows again. Your first ghost hunt, how are you feeling?
Yeah, there was definitely some creepy parts. The first thing we saw was the writing on the wall, which obviously was a bit of a joke, I think, from the staff here. Yeah. But that did set the tone as soon as I went down and saw that. I was like, should I go back upstairs? But no, I persisted. And yeah, the general atmosphere was creepy enough for me to be able to tell people, yeah, I had a very... a good, productive ghost hunt. Yeah.
Creepy, but not too creepy.
Yeah.
And the general consensus from the experts was that there was definitely some points of interest there, definitely some things they are going to come back and take a second, maybe a third look at in the future. What, for you, was the highlight of what we possibly encountered down there?
Well, it would have to be the cymbal crashing, because at one point you were talking and I was standing close to the drum kit and I was the closest person to it, but a cymbal just made a noise. There was no wind down there. There was nothing could have fallen on it, and I was the closest one to it, but I was still within an arm's length of actually touching it. So for me, everyone looked like, did you do that, Chris? I was like, I didn't move. So that cymbal crashed by itself. Not saying that's proof of anything, but it's perhaps evidence of something.
Yeah, it's definitely something the experts, again, will have to look into, because they picked up on a few points. The other one they noticed was in the corridor that was blocked that we couldn't get to. Did you feel anything strange in that part?
I'll be honest, I didn't go down there too deeply. Right. I just stuck my head around, had a quick look, and then went back into the comfort of the band practice area.
Well, I didn't realise you were being that cowardly, Chris. If I'd known, I'd have. I'll make them bring you back for the next time they come down here. And the other bit, of course, there was that other creepy corridor behind the door, behind the drum kit, which, as we discovered, went absolutely nowhere. And there was a camera in there, which we don't know anything about. How did you feel about that spot?
Yeah, like that was quite creepy. Again, because it was by that drum kit. But it also is generally quite eerie because there was a door that led to a corridor that went to nowhere. So that in itself is quite a bit eerie. But yeah, that area, again, is one that definitely warrants some further exploration.
Yeah, it was a door that went nowhere with a camera that nobody can explain. One heck of a thing to stumble across on a ghost hunt.
Yeah.
No, there was him, he had the building, somebody else had the building, then I had the building. He said, I've never had a camera in there and don't see why there'd be a camera in there. And I can't see the people who had it before me have it because they didn't have cameras in the fucking main part of the bar, let alone anywhere else. So no idea why there's a camera in there.